Hello and welcome to The Hidden Perfectionist, a guide to imperfect progress in health, life, and everything in between. I'm Ashley, a coach, recovering perfectionist, and your reminder that you don't need more discipline, you need less pressure. This podcast is for the woman who's pretending like she's got it all together, but deep down feels like she's always behind. If you've ever procrastinated because you couldn't do it perfectly, or put your health on hold because life felt too overwhelming, you're not alone, and you're exactly who this podcast is for. Around here, we're ditching the all-or-nothing mindset, getting real about burnout, and learning how to make sustainable change, one messy step at a time. Let's go. Hello and welcome back to The Hidden Perfectionist. I'm Ashley, your host, coach, and fellow recovering perfectionist. Today, we're going deeper into one of the biggest culprits behind the all-or-nothing mindset, diets. We're going to connect the dots between why every time you've tried to get back on track with a diet, it felt impossible. Why even the healthy diets still keep you stuck in that same binge-restrict cycle. How this isn't a personal failing, it's how diets are designed. And most importantly, what to do instead if you actually want to feel good in your body without driving yourself crazy. Alright, quick drink of the day update before we get into it. Today I'm sipping on an unsweetened iced tea with some lemon, a staple in my household growing up. So grab your own drink of choice and we'll get into it. Let's talk numbers for a second. The global weight loss and diet industry is worth billions. Yes, billions with a B. That's not because these programs work and everyone graduates and lives happily ever after. It's because they don't. Because people come back over and over again. Think about it. Have you ever met someone who did Weight Watchers once and never had to go back? Or someone who tried a juice cleanse and came out on the other side with a healthy, balanced relationship with food? Yeah, I didn't think so. How many times have you told yourself, okay, this time I'm really going to stick with it, only to find yourself restarting or giving up within a few weeks? This isn't because you're broken. It's because these programs are designed to keep you dependent. Here's the business model. Promise fast results and hook you with motivation and shame. Give you rigid rules that are impossible to sustain long term. When you inevitably fail, you blame yourself. You come back for another round, thinking this time will be different. Rinse and repeat. You see this not just in the programs themselves, but in the constant rebranding. Weight Watchers became WW to be more wellness focused. Slim Fast pushes balanced nutrition, but it's literally based on liquid meal replacements. Noom says they're psychology-based, but still at the core, a calorie-restricted diet with green, yellow, and red food lists that scream moral judgment. Changing the packaging doesn't change the trap. And it's no coincidence that the same companies who sell you restrictive plans are also pushing supplements, snacks, and branded convenience foods. They profit when you don't trust yourself to navigate food without their guidance. That's not health. That's dependency. Now let's go deeper into the psychology. Why does dieting trigger this all-or-nothing mindset so easily? Because it taps into a few very human tendencies. Perfectionism. High recovering perfectionists. Moral judgment of food and body image. Cognitive dissonance when we break the rules. Scarcity mindset around food and success. Perfectionism loves rules. When you're a perfectionist, clear rules feel safe. Eat this, don't eat that. Follow the plan, succeed, mess up, fail. Diets give you that dopamine hit of doing it right. But perfection is fragile. One slip up, it's over. And that flips you straight into might as well mode. I already had one cookie, so the whole day's ruined. I missed my workout, so this week's a wash. That black and white thinking isn't a character flaw. It's a natural response to those rigid rules. Moralizing food leads to a shame spiral. When diets label food as good or bad, it becomes personal. You didn't just eat a cookie. You were bad. You didn't just skip a workout. You failed. This triggers shame. And here's the kicker. Shame doesn't motivate long-term change. It makes you want to avoid the thing entirely. So what do? We check out. I'll start over Monday. I need a clean slate. All or nothing. Again. Scarcity mindset fuels binging. When something is restricted, you want it more. Not because you're weak, because your brain is wired for survival. Even if logically you know you can buy ice cream anytime, the moment you tell yourself, I can't have it, your brain goes into scarcity mode. Cue cravings, obsessing, and eventually binging. This is why cheat days are a thing, and why they almost always turn into an all-out food frenzy. Cognitive dissonance makes you quit. When your actions don't match your identity, I'm being healthy, but I just ate pizza. You feel uncomfortable. Most people resolve this by either doubling down on restriction, which is unsustainable, or giving up entirely. Hello, all or nothing. Diets create the tension by design. Let's call out some of the sneaky ones. Macro tracking that becomes obsessive, clean eating morphing into orthorexia, even intuitive eating co-opted by influencers who turn it into another set of rigid rules. Just because something is framed as healthy or lifestyle doesn't mean it's immune to diet culture. If it demonizes certain foods, glorifies restriction as discipline, or sets you up to fail if you're not perfect, it's still feeding your all-or-nothing mindset. The truth is, sustainability comes from flexibility, not rigidity. Your body doesn't operate in perfect days or weeks. Life doesn't respect your meal plan. But diet culture doesn't teach you how to adapt. It teaches you how to blame yourself. This is where I see so many people trapped. It's not just about food. It's about capacity. When you're already overwhelmed with work, family, life, and then you layer a perfectionist diet on top, you're setting yourself up for burnout. But instead of adjusting the plan, we blame ourselves. I just need more discipline. I just need to try harder. You're not lazy. You're burnt out. And diets don't fix burnout. They make it worse. This is why my coaching focuses on capacity first. Small wins, flexible habits, stress management. Because you can't build consistency on a foundation of overwhelm. Here's what works, and what I coach my clients through. Ditching the morality of food. Food isn't good or bad. It's just food. The moment you stop giving food the power to define your worth, everything changes. This isn't a permission slip to eat mindlessly. It's a shift in why you make choices. Instead of choosing based on guilt or being good, you start making decisions based on how you want to feel. Energized, not sluggish. Satisfied, not deprived. In control, not reactive. When guilt is out of the equation, food becomes just another tool to support how you want to show up in your life. Focusing on patterns, not perfection. One meal won't make or break you. It's what you do consistently that matters. It's not about that one slice of pizza. It's about the all or nothing spiral that happens after. That's why I teach my clients to zoom out and look at patterns. Are you constantly undereating during the day and then binging at night? Are your weekends turning into a free-for-all because your weekdays are way too rigid? Instead of fighting every little mistake, fix the pattern that keeps repeating. Because patterns create your results, not perfection. Building capacity before complexity. If life already feels overwhelming, adding a 12-step morning routine isn't the answer. You need to build capacity first. Start with one simple habit that feels doable on your worst day. Focus on meals that are quick, tasty, and not a production. Move your body in ways that you enjoy, not what the internet says is optimal. When you stop overcomplicating things, consistency becomes possible. And when consistency kicks in, that's when you'll see the real momentum. Using awareness, not willpower. Willpower is a finite resource. Awareness, that's a game changer. Instead of white-knuckling your way through cravings or trying to be good, I coach my clients to slow down and check in. Am I actually hungry? Or is this stress talking? What do I really want right now? Food? A break? Or maybe just a little comfort? How do I want to feel after this meal? Satisfied and energized? Or stuffed and guilty? The more aware you become of your triggers and patterns, the less you need to control yourself. It stops being a fight and starts being a conversation. This builds trust with your body, something diets take away. All right, next we're going to talk about the emotional weight of constantly feeling like you're failing at health. Here's what happens. You try a diet, you get some early wins. The scale moves, you're motivated, you're checking all the boxes. But then life happens. You get sick, work gets busy, maybe your kid needs you, and suddenly those rigid rules don't fit into your day anymore. But instead of the plan adapting to your life, you're expecting to force your life into the plan. When you can't, it feels like failure. But it's not failure. It's life being life. The diet didn't fail because you didn't try hard enough. It failed because it was never designed to support you when things get hard. That's the sneaky thing about diet culture. It sells itself as discipline, but really, it only works when life is perfect. And when is life ever perfect? Exactly. So every time you try and life gets in the way and you fall off, you end up thinking it's your fault. You tell yourself you're not disciplined enough, that you need to buckle down harder next time. And every time you restart, it chips away at your confidence a little more. It teaches you not to trust yourself, not to listen to your body, not to believe you're capable without a set of rules. And that's exactly what keeps you coming back for their next program, their next challenge, their next reband of the same restrictive plan in a shiny new package. One belief I see over and over with my clients is the idea that if they're not being strict, they're slacking. If they're not tracking every bite, hitting every step, checking every box, they must be lazy. But strictness is not the same as consistency. Strictness is rigid and fragile. Consistency is flexible and resilient. Strictness works until it doesn't. Consistency keeps you moving, even when life throws curveballs. That's what real health is about. I hear people say all the time, if I could just be more disciplined, I'd finally lose the weight. But discipline isn't the problem. The problem is trying to force a perfectionist plan into an imperfect life. Discipline isn't about being perfect every day. It's about showing up even when it's messy, doing something instead of nothing, letting good enough be enough. Diet culture teaches you that if you can't do it perfectly, it's not worth doing at all. So when life gets busy, you quit. Not because you're weak, because the system taught you that anything less than perfect is failure. It's not a discipline problem. It's a perfectionism problem. And the more you chase these rigid extremes, the more you stay stuck. Why does this matter so much? Because the way you approach health spills into every other area of your life. When you're stuck in all or nothing with food and fitness, it affects how you approach work, relationships, even how you talk to yourself. You set impossible standards. You beat yourself up when you can't meet them. You procrastinate starting new things because you're scared you won't do them perfectly. This isn't just a health problem. It's a life problem. A lot of this mindset starts young. Think back. How often did you hear adults saying they were being good or bad with food, skipping cake because they were watching their weight, rewarding themselves with dessert for being so good all week? We absorbed those messages like sponges. They became the default way we thought about food and our bodies. And it wasn't just the people around us. Pop culture was screaming the same thing. As a younger millennial, I grew up with Gilmore Girls, where eating junk food was quirky and cute, as long as you were skinny. Friends, where Fat Monica existed purely for the fat jokes, even though she wasn't even that heavy. Project Runway, where plus-size models were treated like rare unicorns and still smaller than most real women. The 90s and early 2000s were relentless. The thinner you were, the more you were celebrated. Health didn't matter. You could live on coffee, Diet Coke, and Pop-Tarts. As long as you were thin, it was fine. So of course we grew up thinking, if I eat like they do, I should be skinny too. If I'm not, it must be my metabolism. I gained 5 pounds just looking at food, let alone eating it. But here's the part no one told us. Your metabolism isn't broken. It's adaptive. When you chronically undereat, your body learns to slow down to protect you. But when you nourish it properly, you can revive it. Starving yourself doesn't speed it up. Fueling yourself does. And this is exactly why my coaching approach is what it is. So when you find yourself stuck in that all or nothing trap, beating yourself up for every bad food choice or spiraling after a weekend of being off track, remember, you're not just breaking a habit. You're unlearning decades of messaging. That's why it feels hard. But it's not impossible. You didn't create this mindset overnight, and you're not going to dismantle it with one perfect week of eating. But you can start, one mindset shift at a time, one choice based on how you want to feel, not guilt, one pattern-breaking decision that puts your well-being first, not diet culture's outdated rules. I had a client once who said, I spent so much of my life being on a diet or off a diet, don't even know what normal eating looks like anymore. She wasn't lacking willpower. She was stuck in this identity of either succeeding or failing, with nothing in between. When we worked together, we didn't overhaul everything at once. We started small, focusing on adding, not subtracting, looking at her capacity, not just her calories. Over time, she realized she could be consistent without being perfect. She could make progress without obsessing. She could enjoy her life and still take care of herself. That's the shift I want for you. It's not glamorous, it's not a sexy get abs in 6 weeks plan, but it's what actually works. The first step is awareness, not willpower. Not more restriction, awareness. Noticing when you're in black and white thinking. Noticing when guilt is driving your choices. Noticing when one off choice is spiraling you into a free-for-all. When you catch those moments without judgment, you can interpret the cycle. Instead of saying, I was so bad today, you reframe it to, I made choices that didn't align with how I want to feel. What can I learn from that? Not guilt, not shame, just data. Because when you treat it like data, you can adjust without spiraling. Another reframe, you're not starting over, you're continuing. Every time you think I have to start over Monday, what you're really doing is pressing play again. You don't lose your progress because of one weekend. You don't erase healthy habits because of one vacation. You're allowed to keep going without punishing yourself. Imagine if we approached friendships like diets. Oh, I missed one birthday. I guess I'm a terrible friend. Might as well never speak to her again. It sounds ridiculous, right? But that's exactly how we treat our health. You missed a workout? Cool. Get back to it tomorrow. You had pizza for dinner? Awesome. I hope you let yourself enjoy it because I bet it was delicious. What's your next choice? Not, I failed. Not, I have to start over. Just continuing. That mindset shift is life-changing. And yes, you can still have structure. Structure isn't the problem. Rigid perfectionist rules are. The goal isn't to be ruleless. It's to create flexible guidelines that support you. Instead of, I'm never allowed to eat out, you could decide, when I eat out, I'll prioritize protein and veggies, but I'll also order what I actually want. It's not about never eating dessert. It's about deciding, I enjoy dessert, so I'll have it intentionally, without guilt. Same with workouts. You don't need a 6-day hardcore plan. Maybe your goal is, I move my body 4 to 5 days a week in ways that feel good. That's flexible. That's sustainable. It's how you create habits that fit into your real life. And when you do that, you stop falling into the all-or-nothing trap. You don't have to start over anymore, because you're never off the wagon. You're just living your life. That is what freedom feels like. You are capable of this, not because you need more discipline, but because you're going to stop setting yourself up to fail. You're going to build a system that works with you, not against you. That's what I help my clients do. Not with gimmicks or pressure, but with support that respects your real life, your real energy, and your real goals. If you're tired of perfectionist diet loop, if you want health to feel supportive, not stressful, if you're ready to feel good in your body without obsessing over every choice, I'm in your corner. You don't need to overhaul your life overnight. You just need tools that actually fit the way you live. And if you're sitting there thinking, okay, but how do I actually do that? Let's chat. Come find me over on Instagram at ashleylynn.fitness. That's where I share more of the practical real-life strategies we talk about here in a way that feels doable, not overwhelming. Because at the end of the day, my goal isn't to hand you another list of shoulds. It's to help you build a version of health that feels like it was made for you. And if this episode hit home, send it to a friend who's stuck in the same loop. Sometimes the most powerful thing we can hear is, you're not the only one. Next episode, we're diving into how much your mindset impacts your health journey and why 2 people can go through the exact same day but walk away with totally different outlooks. Until then, grab yourself a fun little drink and give yourself some grace. You're doing better than you think.